So that's the end of it. And without delay, we'll move into the Socratic circles. So if you've got other materials, obviously these work better if we're all in on it and talking about it. And I just want to, so we're live now, and I can see if any parents are listening, welcome to the class. And if you want to communicate with us, use the Today's Meet link that I sent you, and you can be a part of that. So anyway, and we can see if anybody does choose to add anything, we can see the question or the comment pop up and kind of deal with it as they come in. And if not, then that's fine, and we should just, sorry, hang on one second. What's that?
Oh, shoot.
Okay, so the reason for the choice, and really I want this to be your discussion, but the reason for the choice of the article is because this is in your near future, thinking about college application process. And so the argument of the article, from my perspective, is the argument that instead of a sprint, instead of a couple-month sprint, let's make it a longer jog, like a collection of material over years rather than in just a short amount of time. So having that said, welcome to anybody who's watching. I hope you find the conversation engaging. And what do you think? Breathe it in. No. So remember, if you need it, you have 3 potential questions that you did ask for today, if that would come in handy. Usually we just, once we kick it off, we'll be fine. What do you think about the article? It's a good place to start.
Okay, I thought it was interesting. I just read it just this last hour because I wasn't here for the past 2 days, but it was talking about how colleges are, like, a lot of colleges are trying to move away from just the standardized testing, defining a student. And so I was wondering that since Spring Lake is still like very highly based on standardized testing, like if colleges are moving away from that, should Spring Lake, like what are other things that Spring Lake could be teaching us or involving in the education system to get us ready?
I have a similar question to that, but like I was really skeptical of this article. Like I didn't do any research into like who the author was or how much experience they had in like the field and information stuff, but like I really haven't seen that change happen. Like I haven't, looking at this year's seniors, like going through their college process and things, like they were really focused on their AP scores and like getting lots of volunteer hours and lots of good grades in like ACT and SAT testing, because it still is so important to colleges from what I have seen. Yeah, and I don't know to what extent colleges are really like buckling down and saying, all right, we're getting rid of all that. Like
there are quite a few I know of that are going test optional, so they are more looking at, like, it's really important for them, the interview process, and like to go in and talk to one of the company devices or whatever, more than a test score. So there are quite a few. I haven't heard of like the video version, but I have heard like
test
how
optional.
important
There's a huge list of colleges
and
that
how
are test
important the interview is.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I feel like almost like one of the solutions to that is making high school test optional, like maybe not require everyone to take the ACT or SAT. Well, SAT now, yeah. But like, because only you really know what like colleges you're interested in. And if they're test optional or they require it, then you should be able to like have a choice for yourself if you want to take it or not.
But like the testing is like for yourself as much as it is for the school to get money. So like if no one's taking tests, I mean, how does the state gonna monitor what we're doing?
Yeah, didn't Mr. Burton just tweet out like we made the top 2% again?
Yeah, because like 2 years ago there were kids who like didn't even care about didn't take it, so there was too much of a gap, so they got like disqualified from ranking. So like how important does the school value, or how much does the school value the test? Like, that shows it.
That's like, it was because of the achievement gap thing, right? This is really interesting to me, like, we were talking about this during chemistry. And, I feel like that's a valid thing. Like, I mean, I love our school, I would love it to be like top 2% all the years, but like, that's a really important thing. And like, I was just looking through the like US world stats, and like a higher percentage of students are economically disadvantaged go to Spring Lake than I would have assumed. So like, that's on me, but I don't know. I think that's important. And like, one thing that I read is, like, it's the article, like, I was reading it, I'm like, all right, at some point I got to the end of it, I'm like, all right, I'm a white kid from Spring Lake, I know I'm going to college. Like, what would someone who was like maybe
Yeah.
from Muskegon Heights, who, or like, didn't, like, that's not like an assumption that they would make.
Yeah.
Like, what would they think about something like this?
Yeah. It's hard to put yourself in that position.
I think it definitely helps like show the personality almost of students who maybe wouldn't score that well on a standardized test and bring out some of their qualities that couldn't just be shown with a test or with an essay. Because maybe they don't have like someone to edit their paper, so it's not the best it could be in how they perform.
I don't want to be negative about it, but when I went to it, I think it's a great idea to move towards this interview process and take stress off of, or emphasis off of the SAT and standardized tests. But when I went and did a visit at Princeton and stuff, because we were over there, the admissions, they were talking about it like this, okay, we're really moving away from looking at standardized tests just as long as your ACT's at 34 or above. But like, we're really moving away from that. We'll talk to you and get to know you, but your ACT better not suck at all, which is totally fine at Princeton. But the way they were talking about it was almost like they're saying, okay, we're sick of these millennials like complaining about stress and stuff, so we'll say the SAT doesn't matter and we'll interview them. Like, that's the tone they were taking. Whereas at Carnegie Mellon and non-Ivy League school, they were pretty straightforward, no BS. Hey, your SAT scores matter. We're trying to implement this new interview thing, but we're not caught up with everyone, and I appreciated that. But like, I'm just worried that some colleges are just saying that this interview is important, but really they're not looking at it.
Yeah, like the article made it sound like a lot of like schools were like changing the like no standardized testing stuff, and like I personally like haven't heard of a whole, like I haven't heard of this whole movement.
That surprised me.
Yeah, but I mean, that'd be kind of neat, but I haven't heard about a whole movement. Like like schools still stress all of it so much, like the transcripts and the test scores and everything. So
somebody actually reminded me, someone has the article up right now. I read it and now I forgot. Does it say all Ivy League are no test scores, or is it like?
It said they were all trying to do this process.
But I know that they're not there yet, right? It's not.
The entire Ivy League and most of the select state universities and private colleges banded together to form.
Yeah, but I think it's not. But I wanted to be just a little cautious of representing it as a no, like we're doing away with ACT, SAT. I think maybe the push is more like a blended.
So are
whole.
we adding more complications to the process, or are we making it easier?
I'm just confused, like, what you would put in the interview thing that you wouldn't be able to put on like a Common App or something, or like an essay that you wrote, because like, I know when you're going into school for music, you have to audition on a music piece anyways, like you're showing off your talents that way, so, or like acting, you would have to act and show you off your talents, or art, you'd have to send in a piece of artwork, so why would you make a video to show those things when you can just, like, you have your required to do it?
Yeah, this idea kind of reminded me of like an art portfolio, like what you would submit for like going to school for music or for art. And I mean, like that's how you get into like an art school, but like if you're going to school for business, then like why would you create this 4-year?
And they said that they didn't want to have like a TED Talk from the privileged kids, like, but that would be, like that would turn into,
Well, yeah, it's kind of neat, like the test scores for some like majors, like if you're good at math, that's like yes or no, you need to like do that.
Yeah.
Like if you're not good at math, like making a video is not gonna help you that much in college. Like get
that degree.
Yeah, I suppose they're necessary to make sure you're college ready. And when I was reading it, I took the video interviews as more of an opportunity for the underprivileged kids to be able to have the same opportunities as the kids who had multiple people editing their papers. And so I just saw it more as an option for the underprivileged.
I don't
That's
think
what I
it's
would
a
like.
requirement.
But then the article brought up that a lot of underprivileged kids don't have computers to like make the videos, so that's a problem too. My only thought was like, there are obviously kids who don't fit into the standardized testing like form of applying to colleges, and like it just doesn't work for them. Standardized testing is hard for like some kids. There are some kids who fit into the way to apply. Like there are a lot of kids. Like my brother is the most uncreative person I've ever met in my entire life. Like he got through the application process like it was almost set up for him. Like 'cause he's so logical, black and white, math, like whatever, and it fit him. So my only thought is like the kids who have a more logic centered, like black and white, this is how things work, this is how I want it to be, like the way for things to go in a certain order, it's kind of like screwing them over.
Yeah, what was really interesting to me is that like I think we've talked about this before in this class too, but it was like okay, lower income bracket kids, they have like the same ACT, SAT scores, they have high GPAs, but they're just not applying. They're not like
They don't expect that of themselves.
If you want to get into college and you want to like do good, like you'll apply yourself in your application and get people to like read your essay. Like if you're not gonna be like, darn, I don't have money to write an essay. Like
No,
if you-
but sometimes that does happen though. Like they have to take care of their families and like they have responsibilities at home.
and they don't have like the same guidance staff
Exactly.
as
They don't have
school
people
that's
supporting
language.
them in order to like get themselves to do that. Like there is there's totally like self motivation. Like you can apply yourself, but sometimes there's like responsibilities that you have to put ahead of yourself.
So I looked up like Coalition for Access, Affordability, and Success last night just to see like more what it was about, and then like I came up with like the questions like how will it reach low income families, like how does it benefit like the lower class, and like what schools is it behind. And it said for like low income students, like they plant the seed early so that like it gives the expectation that college is for them, like it's for everybody. So like that's how like these people are like trying to help them, is just like trying to like create the tools and planning like to help them apply.
Yeah.
So that was some like the benefits of it.
I want to chime in. I want to have some interesting thoughts here. I think. So what would we say are the skills that are going to prove valuable at college?
I feel like
Academics. What are the like? Can we name 4 or 5 like the skills that are going to be?
Being self-motivated.
So self-motivation,
time management.
study habits, time management. Let's throw out a couple
I
more.
feel like recommendation letters go a long way.
Organization,
Some
academic honesty,
Being able to handle academic pressure.
academic pressure.
It's
So,
obviously like
multitasking.
so maybe multitasking. So what about like leadership?
Oh yeah.
Caring, you know. So like some of these kind of things that end up being really important as well. My question is, how do those things get seen, right? So we trust that that's just going to happen through essays, right? But if we offer more ways for that to be seen or shown, isn't that helpful then? So like if your argument is like, yeah, just don't, that's kind of my thing. It's like you have to, and also there are so many of, this is going to sound bad, but there's so many of you, right? There are like there are thousands of you, okay, in the world, thousands of you, with your scores and your tests, whatever your test scores and your GPA. So wouldn't this be nice as a way to differentiate yourself and to show really what makes you
maybe
you?
the prompts are asking the wrong questions. Like maybe they're focusing too much on. Like, I don't know, okay, maybe I haven't really applied to a college yet, but
I know.
so maybe they need to like have like a big essay about like what they want to accomplish, and then like maybe have like shorter essay questions about like I don't know who will like help them, or like maybe I don't know, maybe like get different aspects of their life to show different perspectives to like have them realize they're more than they want this, or like they're trying hard, or I don't know.
Almost maybe like ask questions regarding, yeah, maybe they're a 3.0 student compared to this 4.0 student, but they have a lot more going on in their life. They're taking care of their family. They have multiple jobs to help support their family.
I mean, Betty, you can see an instance where a 3.0 student is a better student than a
Yeah,
4.0
exactly.
student. Like,
Yeah.
is a better person.
Yeah.
Kid, you know,
Yeah,
more thoughtful, more caring, more whatever. I mean, you could see that where that would be
Yeah.
the case, right? So it's like, you want to, if I'm in admissions, I want to know that.
Yeah.
Like, I need to somehow figure that out, you know, because I want that kid. That's the kid I want.
I think that's what the video is trying to do, but like Taylor said, like there could be prompts that could, instead of like these standardized like questions for their essays, they could, if colleges want to move to try to get these things out of the kids, they could make prompts that are more giving to them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Heroes.
Wait, curious.
Go ahead,
Okay, I think, sorry,
Just
I was just like
Take it,
waiting.
just own it, just take it.
No, basically. So we're talking about like all the prompts that might get other students into colleges that aren't just like the standardized ones. But I mean, in the beginning of the article, it talked about like social media stuff, and it showed a couple pictures of the Hannah or whatever, like the stick figures that she did, and it featured like Netflix or something in there, and I don't know why she would put that, because it says like it shows a side of themselves that might not come through in typical mix of transcripts, but I don't think your college needs to know that you watched Netflix. So, like, what kind of like stuff would you put in the social media like video that you make that would be different from the transcripts they have, like the application I think system the- have now, yeah. but not like, hey, I watch Netflix in my free time.
No, I think
you know.
that was probably poorly done.
Yeah.
But maybe like, it's just giving another option as opposed to the essays, because maybe they don't write as well, maybe they don't have a computer to access, so they're using this. I don't know, I guess you can't really make a video if you don't have, well, you can use your phone. But like, it gives you another option if you're not as able to write essays beautifully and like, don't have
I just feel like it's gonna go right back to, there are kids who have more money, more access, are able to make better videos, and it's just gonna be basically just filling out another application.
Sorry.
Like the cast blogs, like for us at least, and like those will help college, I think.
Yeah.
Like those, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That isn't included in
It
the
shows that you're
application.
involved.
And,
I think it could help. It could just be bland and just like this one, but it could, right?
but would we have written that if the school hadn't required it?
No.
No, so like, this is just saying, hey, here's another option.
But this is kind of like, our cast logs are kind of like, in the article, they talked about the 4-year, what was it called, the 4-year, like, not a transcript, but they said that for.
Portfolio.
Yeah, portfolio, thank you. And it's, I know we already started ours this year, but at least it's getting some jump start on it. And they could do that. They could, requiring it is probably, I don't know if they need to require it, but, because that would add a lot more, like, it would just add something else that people need to do. But, I mean, if they want to, I don't know. Maybe not.
I think maybe we go back to like the counseling staff at high schools then, because like if they were to like push it, like I feel like in lower income schools that isn't pushed as much. But like if your counselors were to say, hey, here's an option for you, like keep this for your portfolio, spend 1 hour every month or to just write down some of the things you've done, like that could be kind of a way to implement that change.
And, well, if it was mandated to have a 4-year portfolio, I wouldn't want my freshman year compared to other freshmen anywhere else. But,
Inquiring minds want to know. I don't know.
But, well, what I think, I have a couple things. I already think the admission process it takes a ton of time, and nobody, in larger schools, nobody can read your essay thoroughly and like really like compare it as some people would like their essays to be compared for admission. It's just that time doesn't exist. So my question is, if there is a video format or an interview, like what would they compare? But what I think is interesting, that was in the end there, what I think was interesting about a 4-year portfolio, maybe instead of looking at the years individually, they can see how the student has grown, because I find that to be a very important academic skill. and that is for music auditions, when it's like one-on-one professor, you're with a professor, they're looking at how well you learn, usually. They're not looking, I mean, to a degree, they're not really looking how well you're playing, they're looking how well you can learn and what kind of person you are, and which would be comforting in other things, but it's not small, like music. It's not really, I said a lot.
That was a heavy sigh, Anna.
Fine.
Good idea. Get your voice up.
Okay, one of my questions was like, it goes along with this, like, what would happen if this becomes like the new normal? Would this still be differentiating between the candidates who are applying for the schools, or would it just kind of just all be kind of the same?
For our class, we would do, for this class specifically, we would do the exact same thing that we do for.
I'm shaking because you can. I mean, you would.
Well, no, not like you wouldn't like do the same thing, but we would put the same effort into it. So like, yeah, it's because we're all creative people, so I don't know. I feel like we're kind of the same in a way.
It's just adding work.
Yeah, it's just adding another thing to do.
Yeah, because like
Which
Grace
the
said-
article acknowledges, right? That's the downside of it.
Yeah, like Grace said earlier, like some people are just like, they don't want to do creative stuff, you know, like they might want to submit a test score instead. So would it be like one or the other, or would it be like both? Because that would just add even more like, this is supposed to help.
I feel like you would
Yeah.
turn into, now you have to have this amazing like 4-year like log type thing and a really good
Yeah, exactly.
SAT, ACT score. That would take the fun out of like living. You can only do stuff for like your college application throughout your entire life.
There's already kids who
do that, but like this would take it to like the next level. Like you can't like kind of like cast bars. Like, you know, we only do service.
You should have
said it.
Like Benny, he wouldn't help anybody if it weren't for his own.
Interact already has like 70 members, and I would say about 20 come to the meetings and like go to events. So if we did do this 4-year thing, I think Interact would have about 400 members each year. And it would literally become an NHS.
No, that's not.
I felt a little pain.
No,
I'm not gonna lie. That hurt my heart a little bit. I'm sorry. It's true.
No, I mean,
My NHS part.
Yeah.
We started this, it's like,
No, like show up to the meetings and just like don't. Well, Interact is so fun too. I'm sorry. Go for it.
no, nothing about it, just as we say, if like we started earlier, then like people just crack, and like, if we started evaluating people in freshman year, even this portfolio thing, and people commit themselves, it just gets incredibly gross.
I think I wouldn't have any friends. I'd be like, no, because you might beat me at quiz or whatever. I already like have the stress of like applications. I think if I had it for 4 years, I wouldn't be a person. Like, I just really
Good,
stressed.
good.
Well, there was a quote from this article that says too many kids burn out trying to come up as perfect rather than real and focus on hard metrics like AP classes and test scores. It means too many promising students from disadvantaged backgrounds are overlooked. So that just goes down.
What my thing with that is that like the whole like the article that framed this like new application quirky thing is like to give advantage to kids from disadvantaged schools. And my brain goes, oh, why can't we just use affirmative action? And I know that's like a controversial thing, but like I don't know, I feel like that I kind of want to bring that up.
Yeah. Can you explain that?
Just like affirmative action. So like at some schools, like they would read the normal application and like there's like this whole thing about should schools have racial quotas or not because schools want a diverse campus. But like if they see that like you're of a lower socioeconomic status, like because some schools like get that information through your application, then that would be like, okay, you have a 3.0, but like you had a harder life than like this kid with a 4.0, then like they get more consideration. They possibly get accepted over.
They might, so if you use, so an admissions office uses a point-based system that you get points for being in IB and you get points for this, that somebody, racial minorities or low socioeconomic folks would start at with points. Okay, so that used to be a thing like here at the state universities, but is no longer. So that was voted down now about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 6. I'm not sure.
Because, yeah, it was like a Supreme Court decision, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe I thought it was state level, but
What about the kids like don't get in because they're considered like privileged, like the ones that you like.
Yeah, because of like, like,
Like,
opposite.
they have like
well, that's the argument.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the argument. Or it creates white kids.
Yeah.
White
It's
kids.
like smell like media.
Because
they're too smart. Yeah, like on the other side of it. So they're too privileged.
The only reason
That's-
that makes me angry, and it shouldn't, so I feel bad about being angry about it, and then I get angry, okay, but.
Good place to voice that, it's okay.
Yeah, but just because, so like, I want to go to Notre Dame, I've been wanting to go to Notre Dame for a while, I think majority of people know that, but Notre Dame will get 12,000 applicants, and they accept almost 3, but they expect 1,000 people of the people they accept to not go. So they take maybe 2 kids from a school this size, and so like it would make me upset if I don't know. I don't want to say it because I feel bad. But I don't want to say it.
If there was an automatic vote. Yeah, sure.
Because I'm like they're underprivileged, so they should have it. But like those kids who have their dream schools getting beat out, even though they've worked their butts off, and I know like they were like there's so much like internal arguing going on right now because like everyone wants.
That's a good place to be.
So
You're a
how do you,
student.
like-
That's a good place to be.
I mean, I totally get that. Like, there's this, like, I want to be socially woke, but, like, I am in this position of privilege. I go to Spring Lake, and it's wonderful. So, like, one thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently is that, like, because I said at the beginning, I know I'm going to college, but basically, like, no matter where I go, no matter what school it is, I know I'm going to college somewhere.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the most important thing. And, like, that's not a given for everyone else, like, even that's, like, I know. So, like, I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
Throwing like another variable into this, I kind of like almost feel like, okay, so when I went on a lot of college physicists over spring break, I realized not a lot of them they do, but it's optional to do letters of recommendation. I almost feel like that should be like required from schools, because then it gives those underprivileged kids a chance still like, oh, they worked super hard, they're working a lot of other stuff out right now too with their families and their jobs, and they're still doing good in school and performing hard, whereas if it's like, oh, this privileged kid's kind of a jerk, but they're getting good grades, it's like, who really wants to be a jerk at their school? I mean, I don't really think anyone do. Like, I feel like you should almost have to do letters of recommendation.
When you ask someone to write you a letter of recommendation, though, they're not gonna write to the college and be like, "Oh, you're a jerk."
Well,
You're gonna ask,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
but you're gonna ask teachers who you like,
I think
who
they
you
don't.
know or not.
Well, maybe like get like good.
I
But I feel like most,
Yeah.
but I do, no, I'm just being devil's advocate. I totally get what you're saying, though. Like,
Okay, keep in mind too, though, that a lot of kids who are underprivileged, they go to schools that have very poor funding. The teachers are not invested in these children's education.
Yeah.
So there's no guarantee you're even gonna get a letter of recommendation.
I mean-
So requiring that isn't necessarily a good thing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, what if we did letters?
It's a teacher of a core subject and a counselor.
Well, what if we like open that up? Their
I
job.
would do it like a work
boss.
mentor.
You can.
You can? Okay. I feel like.
Yeah. Sure.
Because I mean, I feel
Stuff
like
that-
most,
Yeah.
I feel like they're like voices for them, because I don't think that like a kid would want to admit like, yeah, like I'm doing all this stuff and that's why my grade is bad, because then that like kind of like it's giving like an excuse and they don't want to put that in a college application, but as like with like a letter of recommendation, it's kind of like voicing for them. Or at least that's what I feel like it would like serve that purpose for.
I know on the common application, there's like your grades, and then like if you can list any like extenuating circumstances that you feel like might have affected your grades. I think that's a thing. I'm like 90% certain that's a thing. I never read.
And certainly you can, I mean, you can put those into like letters and your own essays and this, this whatever, this traumatic thing kept me from, or held me back, or was a struggle, or those can be. Okay, it's excellent, really terrific conversation. Let's see what else can happen. Let's look to be done around 12:57. So we've got 6 more minutes. Here's what I'm hearing. We me see if I'm hearing you correctly. I'm hearing adding this sounds like just adding more. And that sounds stressful. And that's one thing you don't need more of, is stress. That's what I'm hearing. And my punch to that, my kind of counter punch to that is, okay, I totally get it. How are you gonna stand out? You know, how are you gonna be different? You know what I mean? Like, what this article makes me think about, is creation. What are you building? You know, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing that really matters? You know, instead of checking boxes, you know. And I mean, the NHS, do the NHS because it looks good on the thing. I get that. Like, I was there sort of too. But then it's why? Like, what a waste. Like, you'll get into college without it. I mean, it's not like NHS acts, boy, oh boy, acts. And sorry, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not knocking NHS parents. I just said, yes, but my point is like I would encourage you to put effort into things you really care about when you have the choice, so that you can build.
I think this is colleges for people who are just.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so bad to care about NHS.
No,
NHS is not that bad. There's good service projects.
Yes.
Yeah, but
They
we're
don't-
saying people are only doing it because.
I know.
You know that that's
But because you're an officer, because you are so involved,
I know.
colleges will look at it and be like, whoa,
I am
because I was in NHS.
It's just something I just so badly want to push back on that mentality of it, doing this for my college application. I'd argue you could not do it and still get into college. That's my argument. Kelvin, we haven't heard from you, so.
Yeah, I think standing out is always going to be one of the hardest things about applying and getting into a college. So I think making a standardized video interview for every student or a blog for every student, that's not going to help anybody stand out because everybody has to do it. So it's always going to be an issue to find what makes you you. But I don't think making standardized creativity things, that's not.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And like the option for people to do it if they feel like it's a good way to express themselves. But if it's mandatory, then it's just going to be like the same application, but it's going to be in a different way. Like, it's just going to be another test, almost like another test, but a different format.
Let's just acknowledge a question that popped up. So have any of you applied to college yet? That's too soon, right?
No, it's too early.
Yeah, we can't tell us.
Summertime.
I mean, look at the college app and
Weird.
start planning it out.
And you can start filling out Common App, but with the
And you could
The
assume,
same questions.
and you could assume questions, certain questions and all that.
certain universities will tell you like their essay question. Like Northwestern was like, our question that is not on the Common App is like, why Northwestern? It's like some schools will tell you what their question is, but not what the other ones are.
So no.
Go ahead.
Can I push back on you pushing back?
Of course.
Okay, I totally understand like the importance of doing things that you are passionate about in high school and creating things in high school. And I get that, like, I want to do that, but at the same time, I feel like you can't expect, because all of the things, I want to go to college so I can like follow my career and do what I'm like really passionate about. So like that, even like that adds the stress of like, I haven't done enough with my life. I'm 16 years old. I've never done anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna get there is what I'm
Yeah.
doing. So like, I'm trying to do things that'll get me there. Like, get me into that position where I can do what I'm passionate about and make a difference. It is really
I have to rebut on this. Sorry. Yes, I want to pull back on some mega creation. You don't have to. I mean, my goodness, it could even be like, I spend a lot of time with my grandmother, and these are the things we do together, and it's beautiful. Like not perfect, real, right? So I guess when I say do, I mean like actually like, yeah, that are fun for you, that you are. I mean, it's a lie to look at yourself and say, I haven't done it. That's a lie. That's like, you're looking at yourself in the wrong way. If you're looking at yourself and going, I don't do anything.
I mean, like, you say that we don't have to do like NHS, but we'll still get into college. But I mean, don't always want to be here. Like I'd like to be at home and stuff like that, like doing this. Sometimes you have to put in work to be able to do something else that you would actually like to do. Like, I mean, I'd like to go to college and go into like nursing school or something, but I'm like not gonna get that by staying at home or not being in the NHS or something, because like I have to put in work during high school to get to the college to do whatever I want to do during college.
Oh, don't misconstrue my comment for so don't work. No. No, that's the most essential component to success. Hello, Malcolm Gladwell. Is hard work. Hard work is the fun. I mean, to the argument, right? So, but hard work is the fundamental. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to be X, Y, and Z. It can be A, B, and C. No, hard work is a must.
Yeah, but like you say, like to like do something that you'd rather do as opposed to like, you know, just to get into college. But like I don't even know, like everything I do is just to get into college. All my academic stuff is just looking at, I better do this course because then I can get into college for it and stuff, you know. Like,
I mean, doing that full diploma program was a major part of doing it is because it looks good on college applications. It'll get me into college, like it'll give me a one up from other people.
Yeah,
I mean, like my mom suggested taking it because like IB English was fun and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, I saw some of the books you might read and that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And like I was excited for that and IB Bio, but
like I don't want
the other classes, I did the full diploma because it looks good on college applications. And like if I did what I wanted to do from the full, like from IB courses that we have here, it would be English and Bio, and it wouldn't be Spanish or Psych or TOK or other classes.
Some of the most rewarding experiences and the ones that colleges do look at the most are leadership opportunities and things that you begin in your community or you start or you lead. And that's difficult sometimes because not everyone can be a leader. So I think that makes it hard to see.
Wait, Anna.
What?
So. So you're saying you're doing everything right now in high school to get into the college that you want to go to, et cetera, and then you brought up before affirmative action, et cetera, minority kids can't do this stuff, but like, what if the only edge this disadvantaged kid has is what he creates, and like he can't even get into college because of that, like, and then you get the advantage because of that, or vice versa, he gets in instead of you because of something like, how would that make
I'm not
you
saying
feel?
that.
Okay, I thought,
If you have a passion and you are working on something, you're creating it, like you want to call it, that should be considered. I just feel like I know that I don't feel like I haven't done anything yet. I know I haven't reached my full potential.
Of course.
And I don't know. I feel like that's ridiculous to expect an 18-year-old kid to like have done everything. I feel like colleges should be looking for kids who are gonna like, who have done stuff already, but who even like have that more potential.
Yes, of course, absolutely.
That's what I was
saying.
I'm 39 and I hope to God I haven't reached my full potential yet. I mean, I plan to grow and all that. So.
Even if you are doing something like just to get into college, does it entirely matter? Because you're still, I mean, it sounds not bad, but like, no, you're still doing the community service. Even if it's just to get into a good school, you're still helping people. Or,
you can't make me smile.
Okay,
All right. Really fascinating. You know, I love talking to you, and talking to you in these ways is just simply, it's just terrific. I mean, even if we come to know, a solution, like that's okay. So that's good. I mean, why would we? That's not the world, right? It's like, evolutionary. All right, so thanks people, anyone who's watching, and thank you students. We do have something to talk about for Monday. I could use you please to be on, what's that? To be on Schoology, okay? So, all right, thanks.
That was broadcast to everyone.
Open your eyes.